We are living at a very remarkable time in which the classic features of police states are now all evident and apparent here in America. So think about police states around the world: North Korea, China, I guess to some degree, Russia, Cuba, Venezuela. Think of the old Soviet Union and the Soviet Empire, so places like East Germany and Romania. Well, what were the common characteristics, and what are the common characteristics of these police states? Well, if we had to enumerate, we would say they had mass surveillance of citizens, they had systematic censorship of opinions, and so effectively no freedom of speech. They tended, for the most part, to be anti-religion. Sometimes they would use the vocabulary of religion, but they sought to undermine the church, imprison priests, and so on. They also had forms of heavy indoctrination in the schools and in the universities, mind-numbing propaganda through the media. Some of these states actually had propaganda ministers like Goebbels in Nazi Germany. Police states tend to be one-party states. And by one-party states, I mean that they don't allow effective opposition. I'm not saying they don't allow opposition at all. And I'm not even saying that they don't allow elections, because there are elections in China today. There are elections in Iran. But there are elections from a pre-screened group of candidates, and any opposition that is permitted is subordinate to and deferent to, ultimately an extension of the regime itself. Police states criminalize dissent. They have political prisoners, and wow, go down the list I just mentioned. We have all of that now in the United States. And so Orwell is our man. Orwell is our man because he got there first. Orwell predicted this, or at least maybe prediction is wrong. Orwell wasn't writing unlike Marx. Marx was sort of like, I'm predicting that there will be a working class revolution, and it's going to happen first in Germany, and then in England, and then elsewhere in Europe. And so Marx thought he was some sort of a modern version of the Old Testament prophets, but not Orwell. Orwell is issuing a kind of warning. He is creating an imaginary dystopia, and he's saying, look, we could get from here to there if we don't watch out. In that sense, the purpose of Orwell's work is very similar to the purpose of our film. It is to issue a kind of warning. I say on the website in a quotation that I came up with for the film that I feel a little bit like the animal that sees a predator's movement in the trees, and I'm trying to alert the rest of the herd. And at a time when the rest of the herd, most other people, are indifferent. They're just grazing like the antelope or the wildebeest. They're like, I don't know, Dinesh, it's probably just the wind. Or even, well, maybe there's a predator, but he's not going to land on my back. He'll probably get somebody else. So there is this unwillingness to really believe that these things are possible. And you can imagine, if we go back 70 years or so, how unwilling people would be when encountering Orwell. I mean, think about it. The United States was allied with Britain, and of course the fighters of the Free French, led by Charles de Gaulle. And these people thought of themselves as champions of freedom against tyranny. So in a way, they could read Orwell and go, oh, Orwell, yeah, we know. You're actually writing about our enemies. You're writing about the bad guys. You're writing about the Nazis. Now, the issue of the Soviet Union was a little awkward because, of course, the Soviet Union was allied with the United States. The Soviet Union was part of the anti-Nazi coalition. So that was a little bit of a tricky one. But nevertheless, you can see that for people looking at Orwell's writings in the 30s and 40s, now Orwell began some of these works. His early works, of course, go back to the 1930s, and I've got a bunch of them in front of me, and I'm going to say a little bit about each of them. But his two, perhaps most famous, his most mature works, which is Animal Farm, and then 1984, were begun. Well, one of them, Animal Farm, was begun in the late 30s, published, I think, around 1944, and the work 1944, and then 1984, perhaps Orwell's most famous work, was published in 1949, after the war. But think of it, 1949, everybody is enjoying the kind of flush of freedom, of the abundance of American opportunity and the expansion of the American economy. At that time, the American GDP, the gross national domestic product, was something like 1/3 of the entire world. So the United States was just riding high. There was an atmosphere of optimism and of progress. And then right in the middle of that, here comes Orwell with this sort of dark dystopian vision. And I think a lot of people probably said, wait, didn't we just defeat all that? Didn't the good guys beat the bad guys? Didn't the party of freedom triumph over the party of slavery? And Orwell's warning says, well, what happens if the party of freedom becomes the party of slavery? Mike Lindell has a passion to help you get the best sleep of your life. He didn't just stop with the MyPillow pillow. He also created the Giza Dream bed sheets. Now, we have these in our home. We love them. The sheets look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep. That's crucial for your overall health. Mike found the world's best cotton called Giza. It's ultra soft and breathable, but also extremely durable. And Mike's latest deal, sale of the year, for a limited time, 50% off the Giza Dream Sheets, marking prices down as low as $29.98, depending on the size. Go to MyPillow.com, enter promo code Dinesh. There you'll find not just this offer, but also deep discounts on all the MyPillow products, the pillows, the mattress topper, the MyPillow kitchen towel sets, and so much more. The number to call, 800-876-0227. Once again, it's 800-876-0227, or go to mypillow.com. Don't forget to use the promo code DINESH Dinesh.